On any other Wednesday, you might see tonight's drivers turning laps at either the road course or the karting circuit at Atlanta Motorsports Park in Georgia. It's an incredible facility that was named one of the top 10 tracks in North America by Road and Track magazine. AMP features a pair of tracks designed by Formula One track architect Herman Tilke, but with the nationwide stay-at-home orders due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, the facility members are focusing their need for speed and need for competition here on the iRacing platform. Welcome to round number 2 of the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries, sponsored by DiscoveryParts and OMP. And we're here at the iconic Sebring International Raceway for an event and a series that will be contested using the well-balanced Porsche 918 Cayman GT4. Hello, race fans. My name is Rob Howden, and I'm pleased to be joined once again by Marco Barbanera, who will handle production and will also be in the booth with me throughout this evening. Marco, we enjoyed a spirited race at Daytona last Wednesday. Dion Fialo was very strong there to get the victory, and I expect to see more of the same today as we have about 20 drivers set to go here at Sebring.
Absolutely. Well, it's been absolutely a fantastic round in Daytona, Rob. Hello to you and hello to everyone else that's watching us, as we are starting a bit later today so we can better cover the final part of the race, and of course hoping this time, when I'm talking to the drivers, we want you for some interviews after the race this time around. Let's see, this is a track that I absolutely love, Sebring International Raceway. Of course we are racing in the full layout. It looks like it's a very, very hot day out there, as qualifying is just about to wind down, and of course Daytona and Sebring, Rob, are usually called the 36 hours of Florida, but the two tracks couldn't be any more different.
I would agree, and of course you talk about the Rolex 24 event at Daytona International Speedway, kind of kicks off the sports car racing schedule in North America every year, and then a couple months later, they all congregate for this iconic race, the 12 Hours of Sebring. Of course, that race first run all the way back in 1952. This track, as you said, though, so different because Daytona, of course, was built by the France family to house the Daytona 500. The road course eventually added a lot smoother. Of course, the high banks of the track make it such a unique character in terms of tracks around North America with the road course. Sebring, however, built on an old airfield, wartime airfield. It has not had a repave, Marco, in many, many years, probably ever. It is unbelievably bumpy. There are parts where you're running on pavement. Other parts are more poured concrete. A lot of different corners where they've got a couple of very fast 90s, the hairpin, but there's a lot of rhythm section to this track too. All the way down the back straightaway, the Ullman straight into Sunset Bend, a crucial part of the racetrack, but very, very bumpy. But as you said, a stark contrast to the track that they ran on last week at Daytona.
And as I always hear this quote every year when there's a Sebring 12 hours, which unfortunately has been postponed to later in the year, but every year the quote that you hear when you watch the broadcast of the race is always drivers saying that 12 hours in Sebring are much, much tougher than 24 hours in Daytona. And you can see why. For example, you look at Dion Fialo going around the final corner, that Cayman, despite having traction control and, more important, unique in iRacing stability control as a default electronic aid, still bouncing wildly as Dion gets a 211, 285. He has almost 1 second over Brandt Estes. He's 9/10 of a second away from pole. Of course, a very long track, as you were saying. There's a lot more places compared to Daytona where you can make or break your lap, and so we are seeing these big gaps, but that is not going to necessarily translate into the race because, of course, here, as you were saying earlier, we might see quite a bit of mistakes. Very easy to lose your concentration, and the track is always waiting to throw a curveball at you and make you look. Make mistakes and other stuff like that, which you really don't want to do. But Sebring, the name of the game, of course, is that the track is so bumpy and unpredictable, even the more experienced drivers can be caught off guard.
I would have to agree with you on that. That's the thing about this racetrack. Qualifying just coming to an end right now. And again, as we said, track 3.74 miles, 17 corners. And as Marco said, a lot of opportunity to make mistakes. And that's why drivers who are able to show consistency and have a very balanced race car often do well here You talked about the 24-hour and how the 12-hour almost being compared similarly based on the fact that it's such a rough track. The simple fact is that the cars take a hiding as well, not just the drivers, but these cars really get beat around. And if you're able to get to the end of that 12-hour race, you've done a great job. Have a look at the event here now, folks. 66 degrees ambient temperature here. Not too bad, which is kind of nice. 66, as we said. Track temperature about 115 degrees. So the sun definitely baking the pavement here at Sebring today. 28% humidity, clear skies, and the winds of just 2 miles an hour. So they're not going to wreak too much havoc on the back straightaway as they come down out of Le Mans, down the Ullman Straight into Sunset Bend. Dion Fiello, though, Marco, another tremendous run, of course, as you said, and we talked about last week, a top driver running for one of the best teams on the iRacing platform and their iRacing service. Qualifies on pole once again. A good run for him, a 211.29. You mentioned that he has a pretty decent little advantage, about 83 hundredths of a second over Brandt Estes, who was in that battle for the final podium positions. And again, we'll mention that Discovery Parts and OMP is the sponsors of our Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries. If you want to learn more about the facility, atlantamotorsportspark.com. But a lot of guys running here today that would normally be out there, Marco, in their sports cars or on that unbelievably exciting and really unique racetrack. The elevation changes at the karting facility are amazing. Drivers, though, get into the grid right now as we get set to go.
Yes, and you will see, I don't know, I think you are relatively new to iRacing, but Daytona has got a nice feature, and some of the more recently scanned tracks have this feature of a, let's say, shorter pace lap. Not here in Sebring. We can take our time going through the grid because we have the entire pace lap to go through, waiting for the drivers to join the grid. And so with all the calmness and relaxation in the world, here we go with the starting positions for the second round of the season.
Yeah, and as we said, a pretty solid qualifying run for Dion Fiello as he's able to get that fast lap coming off the victory in the opening round. You can see 0.8 of a second quicker than Brandt Estes. Thornton Muir ends up P3. Young Zach Holden will qualify fourth. Ryan Flannery rounding out the fast five. Ryan Harper will start on the outside of Flannery on row number 3, while Michael Green and Michael Day will share row number 4. A little further back in the field, we'll look at Michael Green and Sonny Chen in row number 6, Marshall Aiken and Blake Fabiani in row 7, Michael Lane alongside Joseph Blankenship on row 8, Trey Cook and Philip Train on row number 9. Look for Train to work his way forward. Jaden Reyna and Brian Speck will be on row 10, and Kevin Espinoza will round out the 21 drivers. No time for Kevin. He'll start at the tail of the field if we indeed see Kevin out driving. But again, they're all going to be chasing Dion Fiello. We'll get these guys rolling pretty soon. But it was impressive to see what Dion was able to do at Daytona. Marco, you took the time to tell us about him and how quick that he is. And I was unbelievably impressed with the consistency that he put on when we were at Daytona for round 1.
He is absolutely a fantastic driver. As I said during the Daytona round, driving for Trustmaster, they were once called Trustmaster Mivano Racing because of a sponsor, now they're just Mivano Racing. And as the name suggests, they are an Italian team. So there's a little bit of pride in that, but unlike many Italian teams in iRacing, they are truly an international squad with drivers from all over the world, and Dion is absolutely one of the best. Also a great coach in one of the virtual racing schools that you can find on iRacing, provides setups and track guides. He's a master with GTE cars, especially, as is fantastic in GT3s, and apparently, by the look of things, he's also very, very good with his very new GT4 cars that have been just released. Now it was 6 weeks ago in the latest iRacing update that comes every 3 months. So this is the sixth week of the new season. Season is 12 weeks, so we are in the official iRacing calendar, midway through the second season of 2020, which means that in around a month and a half we can expect some new big updates coming to the service, as it's per usual. Every 3 months you get the big updates, and yesterday we got we have a long pace lap, so we got a big surprise from iRacing because we got the first snapshot of their recreation of North Wilkesboro. Of course, a track that has been asked many times. Of course, sadly now not being used anymore, but a team of fantastic people led by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Actually went there, cleaned the place up, and something that iRacing never does. They are actually they scanned the track even though it's no longer used, and they are going to basically recreate it in virtual fashion as it was during the 1987 season. So a fantastic gift. Oh, we have a spin! Oh, Dion Fiallo is taken out on the pace lap.
That was surprising watching that as you gave us the update on North Wilkesboro, and again, a fantastic facility. One driver coming through that part of the racetrack, I believe that was the one of the higher speed parts of the track coming through turn number 11 and 12, got crossed up coming through and lost control. We'll see a replay of this. Just getting on the throttle coming through this corner here. This is actually, I believe, turn number 10. So turn 10's the right-hander. Then they come through what's called Collier, which is a bit of a left-hand kind of sweeping band back into turn 12 and 13, another hard braking, a tower turn. And the driver from the outside just getting on the throttle a little too much, trying to spool up here. You can see that driver in the blue and the red, drops a wheel into the grass, right into the right front of our pole sitter, Dion Fiallo. I wonder what kind of damage we'll have there. That was Thornton Muir and the number 13. You can be sure that he'll be distraught now with that. Fiallo staying on the racetrack, no damage as we can see now, Marco, but that I'm sure that caught him quite off guard on a warm-up lap.
Yeah, I mean, and here I was saying a few minutes ago that we had all the time in the world to go relaxing through the pace lap and enjoying the scenery and have some chit-chat. Well, not tonight. Let's see if the leader opts to head for the pits, and also if Thornton, we're starting in third, head for the pit at the end of lap 1, and here we go.
It'll be Dion Fiallo on the pole on the outside. Brant Estes, drivers coming through turn number 17, looking for the green flag as they'll start spooling things back up on that concrete patch onto the front straightaway here at Sebring. Round number 2 is underway. Green, green, green. Lights flashing for them to rocket their way down the straightaway, and Dion Fiallo jumping out into the early lead. Big wide entry into that opening corner. You can see drivers looking down to the inside. Fiallo wisely taking the outside run because there's lots of curbing on the exit. He drops 2 wheels. The entire right side of the car goes into the dirt on the outside. That's going to allow Brant Estes to lead the way into turn number 2. Tight corner here, turns 2 and 3. And then back to turn number 4, a sweeping left-hander. Getting on the throttle there, leads on the run all the way down to the hairpin, turn number 7. But Fiallo under attack here right now, Marco. Zach Holden in the 09 getting on him as well.
Oh, they touch again.
Attack. Yeah, that was Holden, and I believe potentially Ryan Harper getting together there. Driver trying to get it back up onto the pavement. Wise move to hold on to it there. Into the hairpin now. Action, Marco, on the opening circuit.
Absolutely incredible, and it was again Thornton Moore after his crazy moment at the start of the race. Once again, he came into contact with one of his adversaries there, and luckily for him, they both, I think, live to tell the tale as Brant Estes is pulling away from Dion Fiallo. Flannery is in third. You see behind them there's a slow driver. It's Jamil Gammer, as that Porsche, that very brightly green Porsche, is in the gravel, in the grass, I should say, and back to the proper racing surface. Eventful first lap, and we are not even at the end of it yet, and we'll see. I think that Dion is taking it easy, but maybe he's gotta have a bit of damage. These cars are very sturdy, very resistant, but see, that was a pretty big whack he got in the pace lap.
Looking at the clock right now, we're already at the 12-minute mark. I'm assuming that we rolled potentially the qualifying into the overall 45-minute time. We'll get an update on that. But as you had said, I think I would have to agree. Dion Fiallo likely just settling in right now, realized that he had a bit of contact early. Let's just get some heat built into these tires and get back to work. Brant Estes, of course, out to a nice little lead, taking advantage in turn 1 after Fiallo dropped a wheel. Just the outside tires, the right side tires coming through one, straddling over top of the curbing on the exit of that corner as the drivers look to the inside. You see everybody kind of stringing out here now, settling in. Let's have a look at your initial top 10 coming across the line. Estes with the lead, Fiallo in second. Third, Flannery. Fourth, Harper. Fifth is Holden. It's Michael Day in the 6th spot, Thornton Muir in 7th. 8th up 2 positions, Patrick Wilmot into 9th. Michael Lane up 6 spots. And Philip Crane, who started back in the 18th position, working his way now into the top 10. So some good opening laps for a couple drivers. Others not quite so lucky falling back, but 2 drivers on the move into the top 10 right now. As we said, Michael Lane in the 12th and Philip Crane in the number 18.
Apologies for the clock issue, has now been fixed. Oh, and again, Thornton Muir really been in the works, and now he turns around Zach Holden. Oh, he's gotta be careful when rejoining there, as the other cars cannot see him straight away because of the tire wall. He clipped, I think, Lane. Yes, Michael Lane is as well trying to get back into the proper racing surface, and now Holden is really waiting for everyone. And he has to wait for everyone, really, because that is a long wait. And now we can get back on the race surface.
A tough one there for, as you said, Michael Lane, number 1. But here's a shot of him coming down in here now. Zach Holden into the corner, and that driver just overcooking it again. Thornton Muir far too deep into the corner, shot by the driver he was with side by side, and got into the back. Zach Holden just hit the right side of the rear quarter panel. Tough for him. And here's the leader getting chased down. Dion Fiallo closing up now in that number 117. Again, the winner from Daytona. Reeling in Brent Estes slowly but surely, coming up onto the rear wing of that Porsche Cayman. The 718 GT4, the tough part of the racetrack here. You can see how the car just continues to unload. Easy to have this car go around, Marco. You talked about traction control and stability control as well. In a different race car, that's even tougher because the car continues to unload. You've got rebound and compression on the shocks and the dampers, and they just want to unload the car. And if you put too much wheel into it, you can find yourself going around there very quickly. We've seen that happen many times before. Big run, though, to turn number 1, though, and here comes Fiallo trying to see if he can get his way back to P1.
Yeah, he's really reeling his opponent in. He lapped some 0.8 of a second faster this time around than Brent Estes, and now he's really looking like he can put on a move, maybe here at the hairpin, as he's looking to get all of the draft very strong in this car. One of the stronger car in terms of how much the draft affects your closing speed. But as you can see, Dion is taking it easy. I think it's a smart idea, because I guess that the consensus is that yes, you can pass there, but if you can go and make the move into Sunset Bend or in turn 1, it's a much easier quote-unquote place where you can overtake your opponents.
I would agree with that setup. And again, you can try to pressure your opponent into potentially making a mistake. There's lots of parts of this racetrack where the car can get unloaded. And again, I think that to me that Fiallo is just waiting, as you said, for either at the end of the long straightaway into 17, which is Sunset Bend, or into turn 1. Marco, can we have a look at the clock again? It says 35:54, and we're still counting up. Let's get that updated so I don't make mistakes.
No, it's updated for me. You should. And if it's
what I'm seeing right now is 36:06.
Yeah, you should reload the overlay and should fix itself. But the viewers, thankfully, are watching the right clock. We are 6 minutes and 16 seconds into the race. Apologies for that. Thank you for spotting that, because I completely missed it. There's one of the drawbacks of doing cameras and commentating at the same time.
I know, that's it.
And you
lose. We're asking a lot out of you.
I mean, I've been doing this for almost 3 years. I should notice these things already, but thanks for that. And still, you see that Fiallo is not forcing the issue in Sunset Bend, and now looking to get all of the drafts from his opponent as they head into turn 1. But still, I think Fiallo is hoping for SS to make a mistake into the turn 1, maybe go a bit too wide, put 2 wheels on the grass, and there he can bounce. But this time seems like it's Fiallo that's going a bit wider. Perfect corner for both of them, and the positions on track stay the same.
I've updated my overlay, so we're good to go. 7 minutes going into this 45-minute race. Long way to go, of course, as we said. Here's another look at the battle a little further back. This is, I believe, Thornton Muir was involved in the incident on the warm-up lap and then got into the back of Zach Holden, who I believe potentially could be out of the race. And then Thornton's actually coming to a stop. 2 incidents early on. What do you think? Did he potentially get a penalty there, Marco?
It is quite possible that he got, I mean, he had 2 crashes during the race and 1 in the pace lap. So probably race control wasn't too happy about that. As we have a car off.
Contact over. Yeah, that's over in the hairpin, turn number 7. That's Flannery and Harper. Ryan Flannery and Ryan Harper were running in 5th and 6th. We'll have a look at that contact again. Harper in the number 97, Flannery in the 1. Big run coming in here for Harper. Is it Harper coming in deep? Oh. Trying to make that move to the inside. Wasn't even there to make the move. And then eventually gets himself caught up with the car that he sent for a spin. That's difficult. Again, they're trying to get a big run down into turn number 7. Another good place to pass, as you said. Not the best. 17 and 1, I think, being probably the primary opportunities to pass. Here's Le Mans. This is 15 and 16. This is where you work your way back onto the straightaway. And Deon Fiallo, who we watched be so masterful at Daytona, just really settling in to put the pressure on Brandt Estes here. Marco Estes hasn't cracked yet. He's been good. He has not made a mistake. He's been able to hold him off. He's got to know that this is the guy he was chasing. He was the rabbit at Daytona. And you can see even Fiallo carrying a lot of speed coming to the inside, a wide berth coming through there, banging down another gear, rolling back on the throttle. You have to be so precise with throttle input with the car, loading and unloading it as it does through 17.
Absolutely, and Fiallo this past lap has got the best Sector 1 of the race, so he's really pushing hard. Let's see the lap times. He has his personal best, just 12 1/1000ths of a second faster than Fiallo, so they are matching each other. Absolutely fantastic fight. I wasn't expecting this close of a fight after the big gaps in qualifying. Again, 8/10ths of a second, but once again, qualifying can be deceiving sometimes, and also who knows what's going on with that 117 after the big hit he got in the warm-up lap. But again, look at Fiallo. He's got a great run, but again, he does not want to force the issue into the hairpin here. Of course, long race, 45 minutes, so probably knows that there is time to make the move. Must be absolutely nerve-wracking for Estes to be under such massive pressure now for the past 10 minutes, and so far he has been absolutely squeaky clean, not cracking under pressure, holding on despite the ominous presence of Fiallo just behind him.
You'd have to believe, Marco, that Fiallo also understands that there will be a pit stop coming in this race. So as we saw at Daytona, a driver's ability to really nail that in-lap, knock the pit stop, make sure you're in and out as quick as possible, and then really lay down a cold tire lap as the out lap is what kind of separates many of the drivers. You can run together with somebody for the first half of the race. When you head to pit lane, you can leave 2, 3, 4 seconds ahead if you've done your job. Good run here again for Fiallo, all up over the curb as you're on the bumper cam right now. Back in car here with Fiallo, working our way down the back straightaway, and again right there, getting that draft, as you said. These cars, as Marco did detail early, a lot of draft. I like that, Marco. Just kind of peeking out a little bit, making sure that Estes can see him in the mirrors, let him know he's there. This is the kind of pressure you put on when you're a pro driver. There's all that patience. He's in no hurry right now. He's not anxious to get by. Fiallo just doing whatever he can to stay in the mirrors and see if he can't force Estes into just a minor mistake that it'll take for him to slide through.
And they are coming up on some lap traffic. They are coming up on Zach Holden. A bit far away from them, a couple of corners ahead, but these guys are absolutely smashing that gas pedal as Harper comes into the pits from 6th place. So maybe very early taker in terms of pits. They should not take tires, given that it's only a 45-minute race. These tires can be easily double stinted. Also this car, if you don't limit it in terms of, because you can put a limit on the fuel tank when setting up a session in iRacing, this car can go for like 1 hour and a half, so the tires will more or less last 1 hour and a bit, so tires will not be an issue. Of course, these guys will have to take their fuel if they want to finish the race. These two guys are really pushing at it, and you are absolutely on point with Fiallo maybe is thinking, like you were saying, I'm sitting in the draft, I'm getting the nice fuel saving, staying behind, and maybe a half a second shorter pit stop is all that you need to get the move done.
That. Let's take an opportunity to thank our presenting sponsors, of course, OMP and Discovery Parts. Discovery Parts is the leading supplier of racing safety equipment. They pride themselves on providing the best customer service in the business. Discovery Parts is located in Dawsonville, Georgia, and has a pro shop at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Big thank you to Discovery Parts and OMP for sponsoring the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries. Marco, jumping over to a couple different battles here. This is the fight for the 12th position now between Jamil Gummer and Ryan Harper, who we believe made a pit stop. So Harper coming back out there. Harper in that number 97, the white and blue machine with a stripe across the middle of the race car. He was one of the front runners, a top 10 driver, top 5 driver for majority of the race at Daytona to fire things up. But Harper now trying to reel in Jamil Gummer. Lots of cold tires on that machine, Marco. He'll take his time, build those things up to optimum temp, and then he can go to work down the back straightaway.
Absolutely, yes. By the way, for the first time, someone breaks the 2-minute 12 barrier. It's Brad Estes. He gets the fastest lap of the race with a 2:11.9. Fantastic lap, the fastest lap of the race. As now Harper has got all the draft of Gummer there, but he had a good chance in the middle portion of the lap. Will he go for it in Sunset Bend? Yes, later on the brakes. Different interpretation of the racing line. It's so tough to stay as tight as possible there because the bumps, there are like craters in the inside line in that corner. But I think he should be ahead. He needs to be brave. Yes, closes the gap there, moves in front of his opponent, and up into 12th place is Ryan Harper.
Marco, a much shorter way around if you go into the inside like that of turn number 17. But as you said, at that point too, you make the throttle modulation even more crucial to make sure it's done correctly. The car's unloading and loading as you said through the bumps. Surprised that the car didn't start to kind of come around on him, but he did a great job coming through. So that moves Ryan Harper up into the 12th spot. Couple of great battles going on the racetrack, very similar to what we saw at Daytona, kind of 2 and 3 driver battles. On board now here with the number 18 machine. That's Philip Crane, who's up 11 spots. Crane started back in 18th, currently running 7th. Michael Green right in front of him right now. So it's a 2-driver battle. Right behind them, Trey Cook, Fred Hazelton, and Sonny Chen are working together. Here they come through here. Working their way through that rhythm section part of the racetrack further in the back. Here's again the shot down the straightaway. Here comes Fiello. Looking to the inside, thinking about it. No. Tucks back in. So Estes and Fiello. 2 drivers have pretty much stretched away, Marco. Michael Day, almost 17 full seconds back now. So this has become a 2-driver battle. We're only a third of the way through, 15 minutes down. Still 30 minutes to go in this 45-minute race for the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries. Good little fight up front, and I don't think we probably would have expected this. We knew that Estes had good speed, a podium at round number 1, but Fiello's flat just dominated the action in Daytona. Got his hands full here, but we know it's a long race, and we also know that Fiello is a veteran driver. He'll be showing the poise and the patience it will need to be able to make the move later on in the race.
Yeah, the surprising thing in Daytona was Fiallo absolutely pulling away there despite having 2 cars glued to his rear end for the, let's say, first third of the race. At a certain point he like flicked the switch and pulled away despite the 2 guys behind him not fighting hard. They were actually working together for the majority of the race, but he was absolutely on point despite the massive drafting nature of that racetrack. So I was expecting a bit more of this today, you know, in a more technical track as Sebring is, but no, apparently I was wrong, and this fight is absolutely fantastic. I think he had a chance earlier because they were getting past that lap car I was talking about, and maybe Est was a little bit slowed down, but now, I mean, if we go to the gearbox camera here, you can see how close Fiallo is to the rear end of Estes. Absolutely glued to him, but still cannot find that extra bit of pace to make that move. And you can see the damage on the front right of the 117 after that contact. This is a fantastic run coming out of the Le Mans section. Here we go.
This is it. Looking to the inside. Marco did point out the damage to the right front of that car, but here comes Fiello. Got a fantastic run through Le Mans. They'll go side by side down into the braking zone. We know that Fiello good on the brakes. He'll have the inside of the racetrack and book it. He's through. Great pass for Fiello, set it up probably back in turn 14 and 15, able to get a better run through there, climbed over the curb, got the draft, and we have ourselves a new leader, the driver that rolled under the checkered flag at Daytona International Speedway just a week ago, now finds himself back where he was just a week past. So Fiello back to the lead right now. Good run for Brent Estes. Let's give him props for leading the first 9 laps of this particular event. Good fight this further back as well. I wanted to come into this afterwards is Michael Day and Patrick Wilmot, because Wilmot had a really strong lap a couple of laps ago. Wilmot in that number 69, the black and yellow machine, he was about 6 or 7 tenths of a second faster than Michael Day, and that's what's closed up this fight for third. So right now, Marco, a battle for first, a battle for third. Now let's see if the battle for first stays a battle, or will Fiello be able to pull away? But this fight for third, rather, final position on the podium, Day and Wilmot. I think it's good. I think it's going to heat up, to be honest.
Yeah, we got some fun, like you say, fantastic battles all over the field. Look at this, Hazelton, Cook, and Chen also fighting it out over 7th place. But that fight there at the front, not over just yet. I'm seeing the gap on my timing timing monitor, still very, very close. And of course, with all the pit stops left to do, it's anyone's guess who's going to come out on top. Let's stay with these guys for a bit. Let's jump on board with Patrick Wilmot here, as he's getting close to that number 005, which is a number I had on my car when I won the was that the 10th split out of 20 of last year's Sebring 12 hours on iRacing. So mediocre split, but still was, I think, my greatest accomplishment in iRacing, and that's why I love this track so much, by the way. And
I've never had a chance to race it in real life. It's something I'd love to do. I've attended multiple 12 hours of Sebring events. The USF 2000 program used to launch the series here, so I've spent a lot of time in the commentary booth at Sebring. It's such a magical weekend, the 12-hour. And again, I've never had a chance. I've driven it many times here now on iRacing, but never had a chance to do it in real life. But yeah, it's a magical place for sure, and it really comes alive on the weekend of the 12-hour. It's such a fun event. If you've never been there, if anybody's never been to the 12-hour, once we get back to normal living and you can be there again in the late winter and spring, it is an awesome place to be. A mecca for sports car racing fans. Everybody there is knowledgeable. They love the place, and the race itself, as you know, is it's so iconic.
As Wilmot gets past there with a great move into Sunset Bend, very wide there from Michael Day. It was almost like he went a bit. It's very easy to miss your braking point there, to be fair.
Exactly,
I missed my braking point hundreds of times during that 12-hour race. But you know, Rob, I fancy myself as a little of a lover of any kind of sport, and actually one of my I'd say goals, if you can say in life, is to attend as many sporting events as possible of different kinds. I have watched a lot of stuff live, including F1 many years ago, of course, when I was a bit younger. As we go here with a move, Crane and Cook side by side. What I think, but when people ask me what has been your favorite sporting event to attend live, the 24 hours of Spa of 2016, it was an absolute joy, and the fact that we were able to camp inside the racetrack and so sleep in a tent just on top of the racetrack,
Yes.
how it was open for the fans, and meeting people from all over the world. It was, and also the 16-hour trek from Rome to Spa via car and back, of course. One of those things that really stayed in my heart to this day. When I say, people say, "Oh, well, you're a race fan. Did you ever go to watch F1?" I said yes, and I went, in a V10 era. The race was boring as hell, Imola 2002. But
Right? Yeah.
you should go to an endurance event, and if you can, sleep there, because you really soak it in. It's absolutely amazing.
I agree. I think that's so much part of the experience, and of course, anybody that comes to the 12 hours of Sebring. Oh, there's contact there. Day and Wilmot, it came to a head right there at the end of the straightaway, as we were kind of talking about this fantastic race and this place to stay. Contact between both Day and Wilmot. Let's have a look at that again. I believe that's Day on the inside, Wilmot on the outside. To me, like Wilmot might have just missed the braking zone a little bit, Marco, and went a little too deep. You could see that Wilmot was trying to make the corner, trying to get the car turned in the right direction. And the minute he got in there, the car kind of started to release on him. Here's contact further back as well. That's Cook and Crane. That is Trey Cook and Philip Crane. Philip had worked his way all the way up into, I think, 6th position, into the wall, trying to get rolling again. Marco,
yeah, they are
chaos here.
I mean, they were in a very dangerous position. In the middle of the corner, I saw a couple of mirrors fly away. There was, if you see, Philip Crane's car is missing the left-hand side mirror, which is a pretty common occurrence in this car. But let's see it again, because yeah, it seems like they all forgot how to, race nicely side by side. Tires are getting more and more worn. Of course, the track temperature is a bit high, and another little bit of side-by-side contact, and you can see that mirror pop away from the 18 car. But it's as Harper and Cook are now side by side here for P8. It's quite easy, of course, as you know, to get that corner wrong. And as I said in Daytona, maybe I think this car has stability control, but past a certain point, it actually works against you when you're trying to catch a slide. So these guys touched each other. They went into a slide after a certain degree of rotation of the car, if you know what I mean. You basically have to not only fight against the slide, but also fight against the stability control that's trying to say, okay, this is the direction where you should go. But you say, no, I want to go in the other direction. You apply big chunk of counter steering to the other side, but the car at that point tries to quote-unquote save you, I think, if you were in a road car, basically, and then basically you are a passenger at that point. So that's why sometimes you see these cars have some side-by-side contact, and they cannot save themselves, especially when they have these lazy spins, as we have once again. Crane, I think he spun around there in the Le Mans section. Let's see it again.
Yeah, let's have a look at that replay, see what happened to Crane coming through here. That's coming through turn number 15. Turn number 14, and here's through 15 and 16. Oh. Yeah, just coming through turn number 15, trying to get the car back over to what is a little bit, there's no corner there, but that's Le Mans where you try to get back on it, and car just rotated around on him. He's pushing hard, obviously. I think a little bit of the issue, Marco, for Philip Crane, he started back in 18th. He had worked his way all the way back up to 6th. And you got to believe he was getting a bit frustrated. He had made some really good ground up and made a couple of really tremendous passes and was setting himself up for a top 5 finish, if not more, because they were battling in front of him. And then to get the incident that he was involved in, you just know that the frustration was there. Probably just tried to drive a little over what the car was capable of and trying to carry that speed through 15, and around he went.
So lap times, as you can see, pretty much identical after a couple of bad laps on lap 8 and 9, where Fiallo, by the way, had the fastest lap of the race, 2:11.916. But apart from that, you can see virtually identical for Fiallo and Estes in lap 10 and lap 11. As you can see, Brand is really keeping it close and giving himself a chance. And, maybe getting past there a few laps ago is not the end of the world for him, because now he, in turn, can save a bit of fuel, as Dion did in the opening portion of the race, and so he might have something to say during the pit stop. This is going to be very, very interesting, as we are already past the halfway mark. It's been a very exciting race so far, and again, Fiallo 2:11.732, fantastic lap there, but SS answers with his personal best 2:11.856. So again, that fight is not over, and neither is this one between Chen and Harper.
One of the two things, and we'll come back to Fiallo and Estes. We'll watch this battle between Chen and Harper, as you said. That right now for 7th and 8th position. Harper getting a really nice run, a better entry coming through Le Mans here, and he'll get back on the throttle early. Let's see if he's able to get that run down, because he was definitely on the throttle much earlier than Chen. You can see the turn-in came much further back. Earlier on the throttle, the longer the straightaway. It's better to get on the throttle earlier than push it late on the braking. And indeed, here comes Harper going down to the inside here at turn number 17. We saw this move already once. Dive to the inside. Chen's going to try to go way wide, clipping a couple of those curbs. In fact, way out there. Chen will get back on the throttle, but well past. Good job there for Harper running the inside line. But where I was going to go with Fiello and Estes, you had mentioned that Brandt would be able to kind of tuck in behind Fiello a little bit, Marco, get the opportunity to potentially draft, save a bit of fuel. But also, we know how strong Fiello has been, like just dominated Daytona. And Estes wasn't really close enough to be able to pick up any pointers at all. When you're this close to a driver that potentially is a bit faster than you, qualified 7/10 quicker, you're going to be able to potentially find a 10th or two here. Maybe Dion goes a little deeper into a corner. Maybe he carries more speed through one particular right hand or whatever it may be. Well, that's going to allow Brandt to feel that. He's going to get that line coming out of turn number 16 because he's not up on the curbing on the inside while Fiello is. So I think if Estes is able to do anything, it's to potentially learn a bit and potentially mirror what Fiello's doing to find a couple more tenths of a second.
You are absolutely correct. Dion is hoping that his coaching skills do not translate well when he's leading a race because that would be very counterproductive, but you are absolutely right. And of course, we also have to consider the lap traffic. We have a car in front. I don't know if you use the trading paint software to display the liveries, but that car is a mess. I don't know what happened to that driver's paint scheme. Who's that? Is Blake Fabiani. I almost get the impression he loaded. No, it's a, that's a Toyota Gazoo Racing livery on a Porsche, so a bit strange. But,
a bit strange, correct?
Very artsy livery. I stand corrected. That is absolutely beautiful. Not as beautiful as my favorite livery, which is of course this one, the Atsunemiku Good Smile Racing from Super GT by Sanic. Absolutely fantastic. But back to the leaders. Traffic about to come into play. Let's see what Blake does. I think he's pulling all the way to the left, letting both of them pass. Yes, so he played it very, very nicely and safely. And so he will be a non-factor in this fight for the lead, even though the gap, even with this very, very clean move with the lapped car moving all the way to the left, cost Dion about half a second.
Dion did make a mistake, though. I don't know if you want to go back to the replay of that last lap. Coming through turn number 1 to begin this lap, Dion got wide again, very similar to what he did on the opening lap of the race, where he went wide and dropped the right side tires off into the gravel on the outside. Not so much gravel, there's the dirt there that as people continue to go off over the curbing there, wears out the grass that is there. And he dropped both right side wheels in there again, and that really allowed Estes to get a run into turn number 2, a full power run all the way down from 1 to 2, and closing right back up. So you can see, I bet when we look at the lap times this time by, that Estes will likely be at least a 10th quicker. You can see how he's closing up now, just a half a second back, getting into that draft, down Ullman Straight rather. Again, one of the former landing strips here, military Air Force base back in the day.
Look at that.
Love that car I love watching that car transition, Marco. It's awesome.
Let's see these lap times then. Here we go. Start-finish line. Let's bring it up. Oh, you're absolutely right. Look at that. 212.2. And that's why you're a professional, of course. And
that was actually...
Oh, look at that lap time. Yeah, fastest lap of the race. I mean, he got a fantastic lap. Fantastic moment in the race to have the fastest lap of the race, did the Brandt, because... yeah, he got it on what was ostensibly Dion's worst lap in quite a bit. So good job for him. Let me also say, for those that are new to iRacing, that every track you see in the service, of course including this one and especially this one, this is where iRacing really shines, in my opinion, because every track is an exact one-by-one representation of the real life track. They have a special, let's say, machine that they bring to the actual racetrack. They scan every inch of the surface, so to laser scan and actually finally represent in the sim all the little bumps and camber changes and banking, etc. So this is basically as close as it gets to the actual real life Sebring. This scan, I think, has been made in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. You will see by the banners on the start-finish line with the winners of each year. I think it's from 2011. This particular version of Sebring.
It's amazing, and it's what's it makes iRacing so incredible. You see so many people, of course, now with the entire COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic shutdown. Everybody's staying at home. If you're trying to get a sim rig, I'm not sure which company you're trying to get it from. It's not the easiest thing right now because they are shipping sims left and right. Everybody jumping on board, getting new PCs, steering wheels, wheelbases, pedals. Of course, everybody jumping on board to have some fun here on iRacing, and it's not it's yeah, it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of fun events as well. But I love the fact that it's so close to actual real racing, Marco. And as you said, they laser scan these racetracks. The cars have the exact same specifics as they would, in real life racing. And for me, that's one of the only thing, obviously, is the seat of your pants feel. But I do believe, in talking to a lot of the young Road to Indy drivers, because we have our Road to Indy eSeries as well that runs here on Apex Racing TV, that I believe they get maybe a little more work with the hands because it's feeling more of the way if the car's going to break loose on you, you're feeling that in the wheel as opposed to in your butt. I really think that's going to transition well. Yeah, they'll go back to racing. They'll get that seat of the pants feel, but they've been able to fine tune and hone the feel they get through the wheel as well. And I think that's going to play really well for the young drivers on the road to Indy.
Well, I took the plunge the other day, and I decided to finally get some load cell pedals, which arrived today, by the way. And also I checked out today on the website of the company I got them from, and now the next availability is in late May, so I got them just in time. And just having the difference between the load cell and the traditional spring system felt like a completely, and I have a very basic setup, normal desk, nothing fancy, single monitor, etc. But I mean, it feels up, and of course, if the more money you have, or the more passion you have, or willingness to invest in this beautiful hobby, you can get motion rigs, you can get path kickers to better represent that seat of the pants feel. That, of course, with a like me office chair and pedals blocked by the Italian Latin vocabulary that I used in high school, of course, but still massive improvement, and I'm sure these guys are having a lot of fun with every. I mean, we've seen that, for example, Team Hill won a race of the racing NASCAR Invitational with his 10-year-old basic wheel and pedals. So I mean, the immersion gets better. But it's not necessary to win, a $1,000 system.
Indeed, that's exactly the case. And again, it's about being able to understand the platform and just being able to drive on this particular unique discipline of motorsports for sure. While we were talking about how great iRacing is, another fast lap laid down by Dion Fiallo. He lays down a 2:11.55, about 500ths of a second quicker than Estes. The gap still, though, just about a half a second. We've got less than 10 minutes remaining. We're down to about 9 minutes now. And again, with such a long lap here at 2 minutes, we're looking at 4, maybe 5 laps left in this race. Fiallo, your leader. Estes runs second. Flannery staying out of trouble, while others around them potentially losing their heads a little bit. He holds on to P3. Michael Day, after an early incident, running in 4th. Patrick Wilmot, 5th. Fred Hazelton running in the 6th position. 7th, Ryan Harper. 8th, Sonny Chen. 9th is Trey Cook. And Jaden Reyna up 9 positions now from 19th into 10th. That's the fight here right now. This is Trey Cook in the 20, and Jaden Reyna in the number 19. Those drivers working their way down the back straightaway here, down Ullman Straight. That fast part of the racetrack into the iconic Turn 17 Sunset Bend. Again, when you're here for the 12-hour, lights are on. These cars, you can see them just bouncing. You see the brake rotors absolutely glowing red from the heat, but the lights are bouncing. And again, if you're working around the racetrack and you're with like all the other crazy fans, you've had a couple of cocktails, it's definitely a fun evening, and a lot of respect for the drivers able to do these 12-hour and 24-hour races. I've yet to do one yet in iRacing, Marco, but it's something that's on my bucket list right now. I want to work with a couple of friends in the media industry. I want to run one of these 24-hour races. It sounds like a ton of fun.
I mean, the one I did last year was such a blast, because it was the first time that I racing at the new day-night cycle system on. So we started the race in the daytime, and of course we ended at nighttime. And You saw that sun coming over Sunset Bend lap after lap. It was breathtaking and also terrifying because when the night comes,
Yeah.
the light come on, but you have that dusk period where the lights are yet to come on and it's getting darker. You have to rework your braking markers. It's absolutely incredible and an experience worth doing. This year we lasted 35 minutes before having a close encounter with the wall at Sunset Bend and destroying our car. But you know,
Oh no!
at least we won last year.
It's a shame to hear. This is a battle here. There's two of them actually. This is now the battle between Michael Day and Patrick Wilmot. That's for P4. So these are the final two spots inside the top 5. Before that, we were following the fight between Trey Cook and Jaden Reyna. That's where we are here again, I believe. No, this is on board with the 19. This is Jaden Reyna. This is a great fight with Trey Cook. Reyna all over Cook, trying to get that run down the straightaway. A little bit of trouble there for Cook disappearing on us, but not going anywhere. That happens every once in a while, Marco, with iRacing, where someone has connectivity issues and we lose them for a couple seconds. Look at this run. Right up there under the gearbox. Surprised there was the move there. Oh, looking to the inside. Reyna coming through 17. Watch that car just start to unload coming through. And yeah, not able to get on the throttle. You watch the car skate away. Trying to get back on that throttle though, Marco, but with the bumps, the car kind of skating away, the front end with that exit understeer. And that's always scary coming out of turn number 17 when the car just doesn't want to turn.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, you start thinking to yourself, okay, I think I'm heading for the wall, and then you have to take all sorts of precautions to not do that, which sometimes they work and sometimes unfortunately they don't. And that tire wall on the left hand side comes at you fast, really fast. There was a moment in that 12-hour race which we won where at a certain point I was sure I was going to smack into. I already had the thought in my head, okay, I threw away the race from the lead. I didn't have the guts to go and watch the replay afterwards and see how close I came to that wall, but it must have been too close for comfort, as these two guys now go past some lapped cars that diligently pull out of the way. But this fight for the lead, once again, getting basically as close as it has been for the entire race when the lapped car came into play. And you know, I'm thinking there will be no pit stops today, given that we are 5 minutes away from the end of the race.
I was just gonna say that we had pit stops at Daytona.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have pit stops here. I thought maybe we ran a little longer race at Daytona, and I didn't make that down in my notes. But yeah, so no pit stops, more of a sprint race here. But look at this battle, this fight up front. I think you and I both expected to come here and watch Dion Fiallo pull away again in that 117, get another victory. But remember, Estes was able to lead the first 9 laps, has not left the wing of Fiallo throughout this race. It turns tremendous lap times, matching him lap for lap. 2:11.58 last lap for Fiallo, 2:11.65 for Estes. We got ourselves a fight here with about 4 minutes remaining, Marco. What does that say to you? Are we looking at 3 more laps, you think?
Could possibly 2 or 3 laps. We have 2 minutes and 11 that these guys are doing. And by the way, if you look at the timing tower on the left, they have really checked out from the rest of the field. I mean, the third car is 44.5 seconds away from the leader. They are absolutely flying, these two guys on the racetrack right now. So when they come across the stuff, and iRacing usually counts the white flag based on when they start the penultimate lap. So it's not like you can, you know, not the case today, of course, with these vehicles, but it's not like you can lift come to a stop during the penultimate lap in order to force the white flag. So let's see. They will cross the start-finish line. Let's get to the chopper to have an exact idea when. With, I'd say, yes, exactly 3 minutes left. So yeah, this lap and 1 more for these guys.
An issue there for Jaden Reyna in the number 19. That great battle for Trey Cook. That's apparently wrapped up. Not sure what happened to Reyna into pit lane. We're watching this fight. There's the Raina in the number 19 machine. Do we have an issue trying to get to the inside? Oh, hard impact on the outside of that wall. Trying to get to the inside of Ryan Harper coming out of turn 17, trying to pinch the car down, lost the rear end, and as we've seen many times, as soon as Raina corrected, the car immediately shot to the left and back into the wall.
Yeah, Harper also had issues of his own. He was missing the rear wing, and that's where he lost it. So, missing in this final couple of laps, he will miss a bit of downforce, unfortunately for him.
Oh, good pickup, Marco. I didn't see that. Indeed, that's an issue there for Ryan Harper, currently running in the 9th spot. And a track like this, that rear wing, that downforce in the sweepers, the fast sweepers, is tough. Patrick Wilmot looking to take full advantage of this battle now against Michael Day. We're now watching the fight for 4th position. So we got to fight for the lead, and we got to fight for 4th, because Flannery about 4 seconds up the road from this fight between Day and Wilmot. But 2 laps remaining, as Marco had told us. A battle for the lead, still a half a second gap. Nice little cushion for Fialo right now, but this is a fight for 4th. Wilmot looking to the inside at the end of that straightaway to turn 7. Not quite enough, but roll back on the throttle here because it's a long run through Fangio all the way down to turn 10.
Absolutely, as the race leaders are getting closer and closer to that white flag. Let's quickly check in on them, and seems like Fialo has been able to pull away 0.8 of a second, almost 0.9 of a second gap, which is absolutely massive breathing room for him as he's taking Sunset Bend for the penultimate time with 1 minute left on the clock. This will be the white flag, and here we go. Final lap of the race starting right now.
Last lap, Fialo was quicker by about 1/10 this time. Yeah, 4/10 of a second quicker. Say that again, Marco.
Look at that lap time, 2:11.544. Fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap.
Of the race.
So, I mean,
exactly. That's just knowing how much how much car you have, Marco, and then being able to pull away, right? You got a car, right? Let's lay one down. We've taken care of the car for 45 minutes or 44 minutes. Let's lay one down. So again, Fialo leading the way. Pretty good lap time there at 2:11.54. Everyone coming around to get the white flag to wrap things up. Again, the fight here between Day and Wilmot continuing. Good scrap, and we'll see who comes up with it here. Wilmot a little tighter on the inside. Roll back on the throttle. Big wide exit for Michael Day. This is going to be a good fight here before we're all said and done. Final lap on the racetrack. Fialo continues to lead. Let's go back to the fight between Dion Fialo and Brant Estes. Look at the advantage here. Marco, last 2 laps, laying it down. Fast lap of 2:11.54 on the penultimate lap, and Fialo getting it done again. Now 1.1 seconds, the cushion between first and second as they work their way through 10, 11, 12, and now over to 13.
Well, after 45 minutes of running around in Sebring, a very tough racetrack with 117 Fahrenheit track temperature, and you still get the best out of your tires now, that's absolutely showing that he knew what he was doing all along, despite the damage, despite the scare that must have been absolutely incredible that he got during the pace lap. He turned once again, flicked that switch, just like in Daytona. Took his time to flick that switch, but when he did that, there was nothing. Brant, and fantastic race for Brant, but looks like with 1 corner left, he's going to be Dion Fialo getting the checkered flag and winning this race.
One minor mistake coming through turn 1 dropped him down to second for the first 9 laps, but Dion Fialo confident and patient throughout the race. He'll work out of turn number 17 for the final time, the winner of round 2 of the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries here at Sebring International Raceway. Dion Fialo with the win. Brant Estes comes home in second spot. Ryan Flannery, well down, as we said, quite a ways back. We have to wait for him to get back. Here's that fight for 4th and 5th. Side by side, Wilmot to the inside. That is through turn number 14. Big run to the outside for Patrick Wilmot, who's got the run. We'll stay on board here with Wilmot. Here's the run down the straightaway. He got a better run coming out of turn number 16. He's got a bit of a run here, Marco. Block move down to the inside. Opens up the outside line. Comes back across. Crisscross. Wilmot back to the inside. This could get good to the end here, Marco. I like the move to the inside for Patrick Wilmot. But what kind of a run do we have coming out of the corner?
Oh! They both crash.
They crash coming out of the final corner. Tires go flying down pit lane. Both drivers trying to get the cars back around. I think it's actually going to be Michael Day who's going to cross the line in fourth. They had such an advantage over the drivers behind them. I don't know what it looked to me like. Either Wilmot came back across or had the car crossed up a little bit. I'd love to see a replay of what happened there, Marco, because it looked to me like Wilmot had the pass. Watch him come down the bottom here. Here's the overhead shot. Wilmot's got it. Day's definitely got a better run coming out of the corner. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened to Wilmot. He just turns to the left into the wall. Yeah. I don't know if that was a block move.
Let's watch
what do you think about that?
Let's see from the onboard, which is here.
Yeah, this is Wilmot. Run through 17. Got the car pitched down. Like, are we going to see a big overcorrection here and have it come back?
Oh, he was sliding, yeah, coming out of the corner, yeah.
Car was not planted as of yet, was still spinning the rears. And, had Michael Day ends up getting the spot P4, but had he pitched the car on the exit, I think he might have had a better run. But he thought that he wanted to, maintain all the speed you possibly could, get that run down the straightaway and get the position. But nonetheless, you're going to see it again here. I'll run through it a bit. Dion Fiello, a tremendous drive. This is on board with Michael Day. Yeah, that was just, the car wasn't planted yet. He was still spinning the rear wheels coming out, I think. It was not set. Able to continue. He goes on to finish fourth. Patrick Wilmot fifth. Well, Marco, we had some excitement there. Right to the very end, in fact.
Absolutely fantastic race all the way through. Another fantastic round. Lots of fun. And more importantly, I think we are ready to give you the final results. Here they are.
Have a look at the way things ended up for round number 2 of the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries here at Sebring International Raceway. Dion Fiello, as we said, a tremendous run. 1.7 seconds ends up being the victory. Turned it up over the last 2 laps. In fact, turned the fastest lap of the race on the penultimate circuit. Brant Estes led the first 9 laps, so comes into a P2, a tremendous run throughout the race to keep the pressure up on Fiello. Ryan Flannery, the driver who stayed out of trouble in the number 1, able to finish third. Michael Day and Patrick Wilmot, the crazy action coming out of 17 to the run to the flag. They end up 4th and 5th. Fred Hazelton ends up 6th. Sonny Chen in 7th. Trey Cook 8th. Jamil Gummer 9th. And Ryan Harper able to round out the top 10. Tremendous racing. Excited to see the way things started and the way things ended. That 45 minutes just flew by, Marco. It's some tremendous racing.
It was such a fun race to commentate, and yeah, just like Daytona, all these little battles scattered throughout the field, and a fantastic, very, very that battle for the lead was a battle that you can really appreciate when you become a more, let's say, seasoned fan of motorsports. Sometimes it's not the overtakes and counter overtakes, but just a strategic and a mental battle between 2 drivers who are so close to each other. The leader is trying to pull away and trying to force the guy behind him into a mistake, and vice versa. The guy in second is trying to put all the pressure that he can to force that leader into making an error somewhere. This time, Dion won, and he won with a gap that in the end was basically created in the final 2 laps. And by the way, in the last lap of the race, he got the fastest lap of the race, 2:11.34. So he left his tires for the best moment. 2 fastest lap of the race back to back. And I think also, by the way, we might actually have a chat with him. There he is.
Hello.
Guy on in here.
Yes.
How's it going?
And Fiello, congratulations. Rob Howden here in the booth. A fantastic race for you today. Interesting, we talked a lot, of course, during the race about your dominance at Daytona. A little minor issue at the start in turn 1. You dropped the right side wheels in the grass, and that allowed Estes to slip by you. But it seems to us that you kind of just settled in. You were patient. You had a good car, finally able to go past on lap number 10. Is that kind of how it played out early on?
It was a little bit more hectic than that. There was a contact under pace car. And,
saw that. Let's talk. Yeah. Let's start talking about that. Was there any damage?
As far as I could tell, the car was tracking straight. In the race, it was a little bit tight turning left, and I was really hesitant to lean on it on that right side where I took the contact. So took it kind of easy into one, missed the apex. Brant got a great apex, had it on the inside. I had to give it to him. And yeah, I was still trying to figure out the car, and then I think it was Holden came up on the inside on 5, and we got really tight. And I was just trying to keep my position, keep the car straight. And they had a bit of contact through the sweeper, went through the grass. That gave me breathing room behind. And Brant, man, he was good those first couple laps. He was on it from the get-go. I couldn't close in at all. Finally, I started to get a better rhythm, get a better feel for whatever damage the car had. I had a good feel for it. Slowly started to reel him in, and then he had a mistake going onto the back straight that gave me a massive run. And he just let me have it, tucked in behind, tried to do his own race and stick there. And he did a great job holding it really close. And I had a mistake later on, and he was really good under brakes late. And I was really worried that because I was going tight through one, that he was going to be able to hold it close. And he was so good in the hairpin that I thought he was going to have an opportunity to make a lunge. And I was just able to keep the gap large enough that he couldn't make that lunge.
Well, let's talk about the last couple of laps, because Marco and I were calling the race. Of course, you were showing great patience. You obviously took care of the car. You got a feel for whatever damage it was and whatever limitations you had. But obviously, you had a good feel for the car. You were saving your tires. The last 2 laps of the race, the fastest laps of the race, your final circuit, after 45 minutes, your fastest lap. Were you saving the car a little bit, knowing that you had to fight it out over the last couple circuits?
Not really, to be honest. The tires just get really good. The fuel comes out. The car just gets faster and faster. I just knew that I had to really hit my apexes. I couldn't let Brant get close under braking. He was just better than me under braking. So I had to make sure to just hit every apex. And I think he got a little bit over anxious because he got it really close down to just a handful of tenths. And then he made a couple mistakes on corner exit that really hurt his momentum.
That will happen, especially at a track like this. You know that if you make a mistake in one particular part of the track, you're going to lose so much. Well, Dion, well done. Back-to-back victories here to start off the eSeries. Good luck next week. Road Atlanta on the docket for next Wednesday. Is that a track you think that is going to play to your strengths?
It'll be interesting because it's pretty much everybody's home track.
That's right.
So it'll definitely be interesting. It's going to be pretty crazy, I imagine. That's a fast, pretty twisty track in comparison to Daytona and Sebring, so it'll be interesting for sure.
Congrats on today. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
That's Dion Fiello, Marco. Incredible run for him to get that victory. Back-to-back wins, 2 great laps, as he said. Fuel going down, tires really good at the end of that race. Put in the fast lap of the race in the final circuit. Just a good run all around for Dion Fiello.
Absolutely, and I think we might want to have a chat. You don't want to get a chat with our 4th place finisher Michael Day after his eventful last lap incident.
Michael, Rob Howden here in the booth. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. A great run for you today. You guys were in this tremendous battle, you and Patrick Wilmot, over the final couple circuits. The last lap, last corner is the one that kind of caught us off guard. It looked to us at least, like Wilmot had made the move, but the car wasn't settled and ended up jinking left right in front of you. What were your thoughts? Walk us through what you were seeing from the cockpit.
Well, by this point, I'm pretty much a veteran, or being 2 or 3 feet behind some impending doom. And his car just kind of snapped out. It stepped, and then it hooked the other way, went straight to the wall. There was nowhere for his car or mine to go, and that was that.
Still ended up coming up with the 4th position. You were able to continue. You guys had enough of a gap behind you that you didn't lose the spot. So a nice 4th place finish. Overall, how would you characterize your day? Do you feel like you got the most out of the Porsche today, or did you leave a little on the table?
I think there's always more. I'm going to try to get more and more out of it as I get more comfortable with the car. And I'm excited for some of the other circuits coming up here, stronger on some than others. But overall, I'm really happy. I'm making progress and trying to keep nice, consistent times and just work my way up there.
know, like us all, we'd rather be outside racing, on the actual pavement as opposed to be doing it here on iRacing. But it does give you an opportunity to get some seat time and get some, wheel time, if anything. I asked this about Dion already. Road Atlanta
For that track.
Oh,
I've pretty much grown up here at Road Atlanta, so that's my home track. And for me, that's just kind of what I thought of a racetrack as being, with the elevation and all of that. So I don't really know any better, and I'm really, really excited for that one.
Oh, that's good to know. When Marco and I sit down next week, decide who we're going to put our money on at the start. That's good insider insight. So we appreciate that, Michael. Congrats on a great day today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Marco, that was an exciting end. And as Michael had said, he's kind of had an affinity for being involved, or at least right behind some of these pending incidents, as he called it, pending doom. But nonetheless, he was able to come through with a solid fourth place finish. Even with the wreck, he was able to cross the line. P4 for him. And it sounds like he's pretty excited to go to Road Atlanta next week. And
I'm very excited as well. It's going to be certainly a fantastic event. I really think that this series really showcases the best GT4 racing I've seen. As I said during the Daytona race, many leagues and many championships are switching to this car, and I have had a chance to commentate on a lot of them as of late, but it's an easy car to drive, but very hard to master. These guys have shown fantastic battles and really the best GT4 racing I've seen so far on this platform. So cannot wait for the next one.
We have anyone else to talk to? Or we are ready to wrap things up here from Sebring, Marco.
We are good to call it a day or a night, depending on your time zone.
Well, again, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to watch this event here on Apex Racing TV. Big thank you to Discovery Parts and OMP, of course. Our next event here on the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries will be April the 29th at Road Atlanta. We'll cap the season off March the 2nd at Watkins Glen International, the fantastic track up in Corning, New York. And then we'll wrap it all up in the undulating circuit at Barber Motorsports Park in Leeds, Alabama. That is May 9th, a 5-race series brought to you again by Discovery Parts and OMP. Fantastic race for Dion Fiello as he ends up getting the victory over Brant Estes and Ryan Flannery. Those two drivers up front putting on a heck of a battle. And, of course, some final lap antics and final lap excitement from Michael Day and Patrick Wilmot, who cap off the Fast Five. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are done once again here from Central Florida. It was a tremendous opportunity to be here at Sebring International Raceway, one of the most iconic facilities in North American motorsports. It was a pleasure to be able to bring you the action here today. We look forward to 3 more races on the Atlanta Motorsports Park eSeries, sponsored by Discovery Parts and OMP. On behalf of Marco Barbanera, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.
Woo!